So you take the mala. We say don't use the index. Now, don't use the index to count your beads, just because you'll empty the mala. It's okay if it's the only way you can do it. Some people freak out, and when they take their mala, they'll take the pinkies like this. I don't want to remove the energy. No, it doesn't matter. Look, my mala, index finger, it doesn't matter. Just don't count with it, okay? Because that will empty the mala. Otherwise, you know, just don't fool around with it. And then go, and that also empties the mala, okay? Oh my God. So, the mala is a counting tool and a talisman, okay? It is useful because it will be keeping the energy or the consciousness of your practice. However, when you do mantra, it is you that you're charging. The mala is a secondary tool. So if you lose your mala, if you don't wear it, it doesn't matter. Because the mantras, you use them to charge your own flesh. Okay? What's the closest thing to you when you do mantras? How about it's you? Okay? And that is outside of you. Okay? So that's support. Because sometimes you have mood shifts. Okay? You will have humor. You will have a depression or a little down. Our hormonal system goes up and down slightly or intensely depending on the day, you know, or the week or the month, and sometimes it's years. That doesn't have a mood swing, okay? That mala, when it's charged, when you're using your mala, you're putting it the intention of your practice. So when you feel bad, just wear it, and it affects you in return a bit because you put some power in there, okay? It's very useful to use a mala. Some people like malas, and that's how I was trained for a while. I prefer mala, but when I started, we didn't have enough mala, so we just took a clicker, you know, with numbers. Click, click, click. Just use a clicker. But I wouldn't wear a clicker around my neck. It wasn't useful. Okay, so a mala is something not necessary for any kind of spirituality. It's just cool to have one. Jefe, what's your name, NCO, who just came in? Grab a mala and one for your wife. We're starting with the weirdest thing, okay? The stuff that is difficult to understand until you experience it. Just pick a necklace. Anyone you like, you'll put it there afterwards, or buy it if you want to keep it. But just pick one. Yeah, beautiful color. And sit close here. All right. Good. These two chairs were reserved for you. Good. Okay. So, I'm just going to continue where I were, and you can take off the tag, break it, or do something. Okay. So, using a mala is very useful because it's like a pill. It's like going to the market to get some kind of tool. Okay. So when you have a down, when you start to sink, when you have low health, low energy, you can have this tool that you've charged, that you put your power in. Okay. So that is why we use a necklace. So I know for a few of you it looks weird because it's new, it's something you were not introduced to. And usually we do this kind of teaching at the end of a class. Now we're doing it just to start, okay? So we're going to learn a mantra that we use, okay? We called it the mantra of compassion. Okay. Om Mani Padme Hum. You can count with the major finger or the captain, or the major finger or the thumb. You just go with the thumb like this. Okay. Just don't use the index. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om is big, immense, universe. It is consciousness. It is undefined. It means nothing. And it means something that is undefined. It's not clear. Money is precious. Okay, so that is precious. It also means important. Okay, when something is precious, it's important. It's also something that you enjoy a lot. Okay, so that you care for. Okay, so mani means that. Padme means consciousness. I know I write that. Sorry. And hum means live it. Okay. So basically, Om Mani Padme Hum is Sanskrit for I enjoy being conscious and feeling it, and living it, and existing it. Okay. Usually we learn mantras with a mala at the end of a seminar or later on because it takes some kind of experience to feel its effect. But for the purpose of this seminar, we want to start right away. So if you still find it weird, please play along, okay, and see what will happen. Okay. What we do is we say Om Mani Padme Hum in our mind. We can whisper it a bit, Om Mani Padme, just slightly, and count one beat. Now I know a few of you got this mantra on speed dial. Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. I understand. Okay. I want you to take the time to feel it. Okay. So we're gonna do one mala, meaning that we're gonna go through one circle, and then we're going to put this mala around our neck. At one point later on, we'll take the mala again, we'll do a mantra of compassion again, and then we'll put it around our neck. The goal is to charge this mala as much as we can during the entire weekend so that it will be useful afterwards. If our system crashes, if we have a down, if we start to go depressed, if we feel that we're sinking into a situation, just take your mala, wear it, take a breath, and start to do the techniques. It will make every integration attempt easier and quicker. Okay, that's what we want. So that self-therapy doesn't take like 2 hours of turmoil and drama, but like half an hour, or even less if you can. Okay, so let's do mantra. Just take it on both hands if you can. Not absolutely required, but just just so that they don't squish on the ground. It doesn't really matter, but it's better to have like this. And we'll start doing the mantra, okay? Om Mani Padme Hum. And then you try to be as silent as you can, but whisper a bit. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. I enjoy being conscious and living my experience so much. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 No, he's okay. He's okay with the major. He's not using it. Keep going on your own rate. Okay, good. Wherever you're at, stop there, put the necklace around your neck, forget about it. Tassel down. Yeah, you can make 2 turns with those if you want, but good. Okay. To breathe, pay attention inside you. Let's introduce the concept of projection. Your senses, 5 senses, are all about the outside. You look outside of you, you smell whoever farted around you, but it has to be others, you know. You hear what comes from outside. Taste is what just came in, but it's still the outside thing. Smell, sight, touch, everything is just about outside. Okay? So we are constantly paying attention to outside. We're constantly paying attention to whatever is around us. Because we have a nervous system that ensures that our attention is outside. And then we feel empty. Because we don't take care of what is inside. Okay, so that's a natural process. We say in the Hindu mythology, Brahma, or the Father, the creator of all things, was trying to find the best place to hide his divine power. So no one would ever find it because it's too intense. And so he said, I'm going to hide it inside them. They'll never look there. Okay. It's a little metaphor. So when I say pay attention inside you, it's usually in the abdomen to start. Eventually it's everywhere, but we start with the abdomen. The idea is that your attention and your consciousness and your energy is depleted because it's always projected outside. Okay? There's a power inside us also, a poison of existence that causes us to blame. You know, it has to be the others. When I have a problem, we start to blame. We want the others to be responsible for our suffering. Why do we think that? It's because someone outside tells you an insult. You're stupid. I hate you. You've done something wrong. You know, something happens from the outside and it hurts. So our attention is outside. This person hurt me. So we transfer that power to that person or these other people around. Okay? And we see this in environments where it's very negative. Okay? So in environments where you manage problems. Psychotherapy bureau, hospitals, police centers, military environments. There's a lot of packed up negativity where everyone is always blamed for what they've done, even when they do good. Why do you do it that way? You know, that's a big problem with the cops because they have to spend resources to accomplish their jobs so that they can prevent crime or resolve it. But once they've done their job, they're told, why did you do? It cost a lot. And they're blamed. So you see, that's an example situation. There are other situations where it's just people are so encased into a system of who's right and who's wrong that the hierarchy transmit blame. Okay, hierarchy is, you see this in every office. Your boss is always right, even when it's wrong. Okay, so it just goes down, especially if you have more than 2 levels, like you have. Like we see this with fireworkers, police, military, and hospitals. There's multiple levels of supervisor. Always one supervisor of a few, there are supervisor of a few, and then blame is transferred downwards. Okay, so even when someone does something good, blame is transferred downwards up to the almost last level, because the last level, they're not responsible for anything. All the blame has to go one level up, you know, the last supervisor, but not the end employee who screwed up. So that causes a lot of problems, because everyone experiences that negativity, because it's always everyone else's fault, okay? Our senses project our attention outside. And then we collectively do this, and everyone is blaming everyone for their suffering, and everyone suffers. Can we agree with that? Everyone at one point suffers, and everyone at one point there's happiness in life, but there's also suffering, and we want to resolve the suffering issue. We don't want to resolve happiness, unless it's to get more. So with the suffering, you know, it's a fact, it's always there. And because we're proud, because we're ignorant, because we just don't know better, it's always someone else's fault. You know, the reflex, the typical reflex, first thing, we blame. Because we are genetically programmed to pay attention outside. It's our nervous system. We're made that way. But that projection causes a lot of irritation, because the other party, the other person, or the supervisors, or the boss, or the system, or the government, they have the same kind of nervous system that blames on you. Then you go in a peacock fighting. Yep. Everybody's trying to chirp on others' responsibility. Okay. To know if it's someone's fault. Yeah, why not? So to know if it's someone's fault or not, to be responsible and to resolve an issue, you need to identify a cause. If that cause is someone, this someone needs to be informed. But it should not be a reflex to find a culprit. The reflex should be to find what causes me suffering. So we're going to do an exercise. You know, in every one of my seminars, there's a 5-minute that is bad. There's an evil 5 minutes. We're going to go through that evil 5 minutes now, okay? 5 minutes where we intentionally will pay attention to what hurts in life, okay? So I want you to play a move in your mind. Breathe in the abdomen. You have to breathe. You need to relax that abdomen and breathe. Find blame in your life. Find a situation where you are naturally trained, or you have the natural reflex to blame someone, okay? That you project. You're hurt about something, and it's because of, and then it's outside, okay? Try to find the blame. It can be just a conversation that went bad. It can be you've been beaten up when you were young. It can be stuff that you're convinced in your mind, but I have the right to blame. It's his fault. Maybe it is. Look at the power of projection. Find a situation where you were caught up with that intense need to put your blame outside or your anger on someone, okay? And breathe. So if that has to do with parents, it's also very efficient. When they treat you like crap, has to do with the job, has to do with supervisors, has to do with justice system. Maybe they are wrong, I agree, but look at that power of projection and how much it causes the friction and the hurting. Okay? And breathe. We want to do one more step. What happened when you blamed, okay? You felt not listened to. You felt abandoned or rejected, okay? Breathe. Go in the feeling lost, the feeling alone, the feeling of being left on your own because you want to discover the cause of your suffering and you're stuck with the impossibility to resolve it. Just in case. Breathe and allow to do it, okay? We only have another 2 minutes of that, okay? Be patient. Please don't resolve it. Don't try to heal it. Don't try to forgive. Don't try to understand. Just go and accept it hurt. That blame power hurt. Breathe. Because you end up alone. Projection ensures your loneliness, your abandonment, your isolation. Okay? It concentrates outwards, and then it just pushes you away from what you really need. Okay? And it ensures an isolation even from the closest people around you, the people you love so much. You're cut off by that power of projection. And breathe. Now we want to identify which of these emotions you feel. Abandonment, rejection, or guilt. In your experience right now, is it more abandonment, rejection, or guilt? It might be the three of them, but which one is it? Okay? That power of just blaming and projecting and going to the fighting and then being isolated and being not understood. What emotion is it? It's different for everyone. Okay? And the more you concentrate on that emotion, the more it loses power over you. But it's just opening a Pandora box, you know, of the suffering that rises. If we don't take care of that reflex of projection, we can't resolve the issue of isolation. We want to work on isolation today, especially this morning. What cuts away our contact, our happiness with others? Okay? It's all that nourished anger and blame, and we end up alone, rejection, and they say it's our fault. We feel guilty as much as we project. They project on us, and it just goes to hell. You know? It's just that, to sit there and allow it to be revealed. And the more you pay attention to it, the more it loses power over you, and the more you're freed from that power. Okay? Good. Now we completely change our mindset. Okay? We're going to do a vocal breath. Okay. Now you need to hear your own voice. Okay? And that's a breath of fresh air. Alright. Okay? It's soothing after a rush of emotion. Okay? Allows us to shift. Allows us to go into another experience. We close our eyes. We need to pay attention inside. We're going to compensate for that projection of putting our resource outside. Now we're going to go inside. Pay attention inside and breathe. Imagine every cell of your body is a smiling, happy face. And smile. Your body is made with happy faces. So happy. And your consciousness is inside. Your focus is inside. And you are feeling yourself back with the happiness you so dearly want. All right, a little soothing moment. Breathe and relax. Projection is one of those powers that depletes us. Okay? I know it's tempting because everything inside us is paying attention outside. You know, the five senses is all about going outside. But then your attention goes there, your energy goes there, your resource, your self-love, your self-worth, everything you feel, your trust, your ability to be happy, all is emptied out because you're just projecting. Okay? So the reflex we have, when you see that, hey, you have a projection reflex, take a moment and look at it. That power that just takes over, I mean, you're not doing this by choice. When you're projecting, when you're becoming angry and you start to blame someone else, are you making a choice? Are you saying, oh, how about I'm going to blame someone right now? You don't choose it. There's a power inside you that takes over. Boom! It's bam, outside. It's the other's fault. That is powerful, okay? It takes a lot of humility to admit that there are forces inside us that take over because we lose it, okay? Then we feel guilty about it, but we're made like this, okay? So forgive yourself Forgive yourself in the sense that we are genetically and physically created to go outside. Okay? Why? Because we don't survive if we don't go outside. If we don't have contact with people, if we don't go fetch food, grow crops, build houses, if we don't put our attention outside, as biological beings, we die. Okay? It's a complete necessity. It's a survival requirement. However, to always be outside depletes us. Okay? And it causes that conflict, especially when it goes to blame. So we have that power because we need to survive. It just explodes outside in the face of other people. That power takes over, okay? So it takes a lot of humility to admit, I'm not always in charge. Okay, now that's another one we have to go feel. Breathe. So now it's just a question of self-humiliation. Okay? It's stupid when we introduce the subject, but it's to become humble. You need to go through a process of self-humiliation. I have to agree, sometimes there's a power inside us that explodes, and sometimes I have this energy, it takes over, and I lose it, okay? And usually there's an emotion of guilt that comes from it. You know, you lose it, you say things, you do things that you regret, and then you have remorse. So just look at it and breathe. There's a lot of emotions, but these are the three we want to identify to be efficient in the process of integration. Integration is to do self-therapy. So, to do integration, your power must not be outside. It has to be coming back. You need to pay attention inside. If you don't pay attention inside, you're not dealing with where the suffering is. I mean, someone insults you, someone steals from you, someone blames on you, you're hurt. But the pain does not come from the outside. It's here that you live it. It's right there. So this is where you need to take care of your pain. Not in the other's face. Okay, it's in your own guts. Because this is where the suffering is. If someone is not threatening your life, you know, a gun on the head or about to beat you up, if no one is threatening your survival, then the suffering is inside. I mean, if someone's threatening your survival, you need to go outside and make sure it stops threatening you, okay? But if you're not threatened, if it's just about conflict, if it's politics, if it's negotiation of who's right or wrong, if it's blame, resolve the issue inside. Oh, when you're live in a situation, try to be as efficient as you can to resolve it. But when you come back home, or when you go back to your office, or when you step back, okay, that really hurt me. What hurts? Okay? That's what we want to do. The ability to go back inside so we can be free of that power of projection. What happens when projection takes over? You know that power that decides for you what you're going to do and say? You go alone and you repeat a 5-minute speech in your head. Over and over again. You got this madness at one point. Sometimes you're just so mad you just go around. I'm going to tell them you're washing the dishes and you're doing the groceries and you're having this conversation with someone who's not there over and over again because your speech lasts for 5 minutes and you're angry for like 5 hours. So you just go on your arguments and you find them. I'm going to tell them, and that is a sickness. That depletes our resource, that depletes our energy, okay? If you're stuck with that projection, that need to just throw it outside, there's a pain that needs to be addressed, okay? That projection will cause you to suffer a loss of resource. So you'll be less happy, you'll be less functional, you'll lose your means, your nervous system will use up quicker, you become sick more, we have depression then, we have various levels of sickness that appear in the body, cancer, it's caused by projection, okay? Our need to survive causes us to go outside, to go hunt. But then it's not about hunting, it's about who was right or wrong, doing this paperwork or not, who spent the money, who did this, who did that. And then we start to deplete our energy. So we did some emotional stretching, like we do each time. Emotional stretching is we go feel bad, then we go feel good. So we stretch our range of consciousness, so every other emotion will be easier, okay? So we don't want to get crazy about this today. We don't want to irritate our system so bad that we'll feel like broken and you know, suicidal at the end of the day. What we want is to go easy and soft. To take one emotion at a time and release it so it's not inside us anymore. There is a seminar entirely devoted to potential energy inside us. Okay, I'm not going to give this seminar again. You can download the videos. They're soon to be available. I was about to say available, but let's say in a few weeks. Okay, so you've got an energy inside you. Okay, you've got loads of potential, loads of them, just tons. But there's one that's very big, and it's kind of angry, and it's exploding outside of you. Okay, 5 senses, it's just exploding. It's just it went out. Okay, as long as this energy is there, which is your suffering, your emotion. Okay, as long as this one is there, you're stuck with the projection. If you don't take care of it, you're trying to stop projecting. Okay, I must not blame. Maybe if it's his fault, it doesn't matter, I must not blame, I have to be efficient. If it's the other's fault, we'll get to that eventually, but what causes me suffering? That's the point. Because you could be completely happy, unaffected by someone else's stupidity, and just say, well, let's talk about it. And you could be peaceful, but no, you go into emotional turmoil. Because that power, that emotion, while it is there, it just goes back to projecting. So even if you just try to stop projection by force, it won't happen. Because we're naturally built to project. As long as there is an energy inside that tries to project. So what we want to do is identify what is trying to project. So we can bring it back inside and dissolve it and then destroy that energy, that agglomeration of power. So we're going to do this. In the science we call integration. We go back inside. Okay? Integration is the therapy we practice, what we're doing right now. So it's going back inside and integrate that consciousness instead of throwing it and losing it. Okay? So you go back inside, pay attention to the abdomen, where your emotions are, okay? And let's play another of this game. It doesn't have to be very awful. Just look at it, okay? And the more you pay attention to an emotion or a cause of projection, the easier it will become. So find another cause of projection deeper than the one we had when we started, okay? And don't get all dramatic about it. Just go in your mind, try to find one and feel. If you go to childhood, that's better. Childhood and early teenagers, okay? If you can find a cause of projection before you were an adult, that's the kind of projection we want to deal with right now, okay? So the difficulties that you were exposed to when you were younger, before adult. We go there because it's so easy to project when we're a teen, because now we're adults and we can think, I did not know. I was just a teenager. I did not know better. So it's so easy to blame our parents and the system when we're children. Because, you know, we have no other means. So we want to go there. Okay? In the childhood trials, just breathe. Just pay attention to that energy that tries to justify it is others' fault if I have suffered in my youth. And then you can have some kind of regret. Well, no, I remember I did something stupid, but I just didn't know better. Maybe it's your first lover that dropped you, or that you could not bear anymore, so you dropped him or her. Okay, look at your first blames. Your first reason to start having heartbreaks. Usually it's someone else's fault, eh? She is this, he is that. So breathe. And you just take a bit of humility to accept that blame hurt me. Even if it's someone else's fault, maybe it was my fault, it doesn't matter. That reflex of pushing outwards the blame, the conflict, hurts. It did not allow me to go inside and be conscious. Now go into the feeling of regret, remorse, an honest regret. I've screwed up. Sometimes I was wrong. Sometimes the other was wrong, but I made it harder by blaming. I just didn't know how to live. We were not explained how to deal with life. Then we got our first job, our first lovers, and then we got bosses we couldn't agree with, parents we couldn't agree with. So we remorse, we regret. It's just a soft breathing in that feeling. All that power, blame. Okay, it blames. And it ruins our ability to be happy. Now, it doesn't mean that it's always your fault. To consider, to stop the blame, doesn't mean that it's always your fault. It's not that. Sometimes it's other people's responsibility if you have a suffering. However, that power to aggress the outside causes us suffering. And the Buddha would say, you will not be punished because of your anger. You will be punished by your anger. Being angry will punish you. Okay, it hurts to be angry. But it's more powerful than us. It just takes over, man. So it takes a long time to become humble, to drop out of the arrogance and the pride, and to accept these forces while they try to take over again and again. Just need to keep working on it. Look at it. Okay. And relax. Okay, now we relax the emotional state. Okay, we just go neutral. Vocal breath. You need to hear your voice. It's slightly soothing. Eh? We awaken a lot of shit now. Okay? We have to respect that. It's not always fun, but this is a class of integration so that we can free our heart of that power. Humbly accept that this potential energy is there. It's not your fault if your energy is there. It's not your fault if that power, that emotional power is there, that makes you angry, that makes you want to blow up. It's not your fault, but it's there. It takes humility to just say, yeah, okay, it's there. Start with the facts. It is there, and sometimes it tries to take over, does it? And so, you are not conditioned to have it. You are not taught to have it. You are not talked your way into becoming angry. Experiences of life got you to be angry. Experiences of life allowed the buildup of that power inside you until it was strong enough to become autonomous, and then it takes over. Okay? So, we can't talk your way out of it either. There's no way we can teach you or dialogue about it. The dialogue here is just to instruct you how to do it. Experiencing it allowed the buildup of the power of anger and projection. Experiencing it is what dissolves it. It's the only way. The way it is created, it's the way it's released. Okay? So that's why we do this observation technique, integration. We just observe and feel. And we just pay attention to the hurting. And because we pay attention to the hurting, the potential shrinks a bit. And then, this feels better, eh? We feel a bit of less weight inside. We have a bit less pressure. And later on you see it takes over again, it tries to take over again. Okay, integration. And you breathe and you look at it, you identify which emotion. Do I feel guilty now? Or abandonment? Or rejection? And you do a bit more. So progressively, one at a time, you do integration until eventually your projection power just disappears. And then you just have the natural reflex, the tendency to just go and blame. But you catch it quickly. You don't allow it to build up again into a sickness. Okay? The cause of depression is blame, projection. The cause of depression is the accumulation of that potential emotion. And it grows. And if you don't take care of it, it also gains interest. Like it eats you up from the inside, so it's growing. If it's eating you up, it's growing. It's expanding. Okay? Like any living entity that eats a lot. Okay? So I think half of you have been through depression at one point in your life, if not everyone, short or long term. Depression is caused by the building up of that energy, and then it takes over. And you're just stuck with it. And there's no way to be free from that because we just don't know. So that's why we do integration. Integration will cause the permanent state of suffering to lower until it becomes sporadic moments of suffering, until it becomes just temporary, rare moments of suffering. Okay? In life there is suffering. Even when you are enlightened, even when you're a pro of integration, life is life. Suffering happens. But we get to the point of enjoying it. Okay. So, since the beginning of this day, did you start to feel a lowering of that power inside? Did you start to feel a release, a freedom? Okay? If you didn't get it so far, you'll get it eventually. Okay? What we'll do now is we'll take a 5-minute break. Bathroom, breathe and relax. Okay? And accept over time that humility required to feel bad a bit will progressively become the ability to feel good even more. Okay? We're building on that. Okay? We'll grow that bliss even more. And you got people in the internet. Hello guys, we're live stream around the world right now because I got a few. I didn't tell everyone, I just told a few people. So they could be people in Spain and people in California and say, oh, can you stream it? I'm gonna pay for it, because it costs me money when I stream. So they decided to just take over that so they could be with us. So that's cool. All right, relax. The more we go, the easier it is, and the less suffering we'll have during the entire day, okay? Until one point, we just go in bliss. Okay, I have a completely irrealist goal, but I want everyone here, including the newbies, to have an ecstatic, blissful moment at least once today. That's my goal. Let's try it. Usually it works. It works the first time you went here. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Great.